Hey everyone, welcome to this week's video blog. My name is Brian Allen and this is presented by International Security Training. This week I wanted to go over a command post checklist, I guess for lack of a better term, okay? What do you need to deploy a command post in a van, in a hotel room, on the property of your client? So what are the very essential items you're going to need? Most of these things, I guess I'm going to try to list about 15, 20. Let's do a little bit more than 20 items I'm going to give you real quick, all right? But most of these things you should be able to fit in a 28-inch hardened suitcase. Okay, you don't have to spend a lot of money on the hardened suitcase. I mean, I've got a few of them that are made by Jeep. Believe it or not, they're hardened. They cost me 80 bucks a piece. They have wheels on them with a handle. So they're very portable. I can stuff everything that I'm about to list off in the suitcases, minus my whiteboards that I always have with me, and folding chairs and folding tables. So if you do take the suitcase that I'm going to have you throw everything in, add the tables and folding chairs to it, you could probably get all of these into a medium to large size sedan. So I normally travel in Chevy Malibus and Hyundai Sonatas. My whole goal is to blend in everything I do. The only time I will use a limousine or a blackened van, some type of blackened vehicle, is if the client, requires that. That's what we're doing. So I have to make everything portable for you guys, and I have to make sure that it can get into a sedan, so that way you're driving around and you're basically blending in. So let's talk about the elements. The first few things I want to talk about are your basics. Okay, laptop computers. We're working on a laptop computer right now. You might need one if it's just you manning the command post. If you're going to have a few people running it, let's say you're running 12-hour shifts, the day and the night shift, and then a couple floaters to work over the shift changes and things like that, maybe you'll have 3 laptops. Okay, so you have laptops. You have your external hard drives, which are very important. You should have radios. Okay, so you're going to have 2 sets of radios. You're going to have your Motorola handsets, let's say, and so we're kind of putting an appropriate look on this. Motorola handsets cost me between $450 and $700 per radio, depending on how I have it set up. And then you're going to have your little tiny walkie-talkies, the ones that you can buy for 50 bucks a pair. All right, so depending on what you're doing, what you got the guys out there doing on the advances and things like that, you want to have real radios, and then you need your, your affordable radios. So make sure you're doing that. Cell phones. Make sure you have team cell phones. I like to go out and buy a set of 5 to 10 cell phones, so that way I'm in control of the cell phones. I give them out, I issue them out, and then I bring them back in at the end of a detail. You need to know what is going on with those cell phones. You need to make sure that the billing is taken care of, so that way you don't have what one of my partners had happen to him on a different detail. His team, they were carrying their own cell phones, and something happened with the billing, but Verizon shut the guy's cell phone off. Okay, you don't want that to happen. So you want cell phones. How about internet air cards? For every laptop, you need to have internet access, and you don't want to have to depend on some hotel's Wi-Fi or your client's houses or their property, their office building, their Wi-Fi. You want to have your own air card set up, and I'm telling you, I have the air cards that I buy are through Verizon, and they have never failed me. Every time I plug in these air cards, I have internet access. What's the speed? Well, it's not as quick as like in Arizona and Nevada. We have Cox at Home or Cox Office for the business guys. That's fast internet. I can upload, download movies and things like that without a problem. With the air cards, I can handle all of my business tasks without a problem. But I can't download music. I can't do games, things like that. So it doesn't affect me on the detail. Okay, when you're working, you shouldn't be doing that stuff anyhow. What else are you going to have? You're going to have your files. You're going to have your client files, your team files, and your event or location files. So what does all that entail? My client file is just that. We actually did a blog, I don't know, maybe last month about that. So go back in my blog history on the website, and you'll see what we have in the client file. The location file, though, is also specific to the client, but let's say they're going to have a political rally over here. Well, I'm going to have a separate file set up for that rally specifically, so that way I have the emergency contact phone numbers to the law enforcement, the firefighters, political liaisons, things like that in there. I'm also going to have my intelligence reports in there. I'm going to have my advance reports. My primary and secondary routes are going to be in there. So I'm going to want that in my command post also, right? The team files. I also want the team files. If I've got 5 guys working on this detail, I need their files in there as well. Intel reports, advanced reports. We talked about the folding chairs. I always have folding chairs. Listen, you can get folding chairs, for a couple bucks a piece. Spend a little bit of money, get the nice folding chairs with the soft bottoms on there. The reason being, if you're sitting in a hotel or you're sitting in a van somewhere, or your guys are sitting on these chairs for a long time, please make the chairs a tad bit comfortable. All right, so spend a little bit of money, get decent folding chairs. First aid kits. You want a few first aid kits. Make sure that they're fully stocked. Make sure that you have an inventory that gets checked weekly, if not at monthly at the latest. Okay. How about TV trays? I mentioned the tables, but oftentimes we're setting up a hotel room so that way we have 3 computers out there. We'll have a couple network printers out there. We're going to have a lot of different pieces of equipment. Maybe we have our CCTV monitors up and things of that nature. So TV trays are invaluable. I go to I can't remember the name of the store, but it has these nice wooden TV trays. I get them for 10 bucks a pop. Yeah, it's not as affordable as the ones that you can get at Walmart or Target, but they're pretty nice and they fit in the car just with everything else. So think about getting TV trays. How about your flashlights and batteries? Make sure you got plenty of flashlights, plenty of batteries. Make sure for all of your rechargeables, make sure you have a ton of power strips. I feel like I can never have enough power strips in my office. Extension cords, reels for your extension cords and your power strips. Don't just throw a wadded up cord in your car, 50 or 100 feet of this. All right, make sure you have reels so everything fits nice and tidy. Smoke masks and APRs, air purifying respirators. Make sure everybody has a smoke mask, everybody has a respirator. If you're using APRs, sometimes a lot of us grow a little bit of gruff around the chin, right? A little goatee, some mustache. Make sure all of your staff, your team members are fitted for their masks. And if you've never done that before, there is a process that you should go through when you are assigned an APR, an air purifying respirator, okay? I like to have the battery powered ones, and that way I know exactly how much time is on there. If you don't have that, the ones with the cartridges are fine as well. But make sure you guys shave this stuff off. That's the point I was actually getting at a little bit earlier. When you have mustaches and goatees, you're not going to get a good fit. Your mask is not going to get the seal that it needs. So hopefully you guys remember that. Let me see some of the other things I mentioned. Portable alarms. Make sure you have a few portable alarms. So that's window alarms, door alarms. You're going to want the little screws and the double-sided foam tape so that way you can install them quickly in an emergency. And this is for goofy things that you might not have planned on, or that kind of, show just the environment changed and all of a sudden you need some extra door and window alarms, okay? You want those things as well. You want toolboxes. You want your big tools for things like working on the vehicles, for assembling certain items in the hotel room that you're putting together for the detail, but also you need those little tiny smaller toolkits for your computers, for your radios, for your cell phones, for any of your eavesdropping detection equipment, anything you have like that. Okay, you want those types of things. And then on the large scale, you will want your whiteboards, your marker kits, and things of that nature. So that's it in a nutshell. I think we're hitting, let me see how much time we got there. Looks like we're still under 10 minutes, so I try to make the video blogs as concise as possible, but take these 20 or 25 items I just gave you, create your own list based off of what I just said. So I would take all 20 or 25 of these items, throw them in that suitcase, add the chairs and tables to it, set that off on the side, right? That's one command post kit. I would also have 2 or 3 of these things in addition to the main one set up and throw those in alternate vehicles. Those vehicles become the EOCs, or the Emergency Operations Center. So if something happens to your main command post, whether it's a simple fire in a hotel or something bad, with bad guys goes down and that is now inoperable, you have hopefully an SOP in place that says, hey, this one's going to take over next. If something happens to that EOC, this one's going to take over next. So you throw those kits in separate vehicles. That way you always have mobile command posts in mobile emergency operations center. So that was a lot of information. Hope you guys are taking notes. My name is Brian Allen with International Security Training. Until next time, stay safe.